mean, look, like, it's Freddie Gibbs. We didn't think he was gonna miss, did we? What's up, YouTube? My name is Jason, and this is my take. And I'm back with some more videos. And this week, to start, we're gonna kick things off with the new Freddie Gibbs album, Sold Separately. Freddie Gibbs is one of the best rappers in hip hop, and we don't really discuss that enough. And honestly, look, like he's more underground, but like he's a very well-known rapper at this point, especially amongst his peers. And he has one of the best catalogs that I could think of in rap right now. It's really ridiculous. His stuff dates back to like maybe late 2000s, early 2010s, but I mean, just starting from what, 2016, 2017, we got You Only Live Twice, Freddie, Fetty. You got the Grammy-nominated Alfredo with him and Alchemist. That was my favorite rap album of 2020. And then you got these right here with the legendary Madlib being Pinata and Bandana. Two classic records. Like, I still to this day don't even know which one I like better. It changes by the day. But Freddie Gibbs has shown that like he can, lock in with just one producer and make an amazing record. And he can, bring multiple in for a solo record and do his thing too. Just his flows, his lyricism, how he can bring that serious and that humor in. Like, social media wise, he's one of the funniest dudes out there. And so this is a highly anticipated record we have over here, Sold Separately, which I'm not gonna say that a bunch of times. It's already hard enough as it is. And I was excited, man, just looking forward to what Freddie was doing. Saw that this was like a purely like him solo record with multiple producers. And did he deliver? Of course he did. Now, is this Freddie's best album? No. But is it great? Of course. It's Freddie Gibbs. We get our usual drug talk. We see Freddie Gibbs getting introspective about some things that he's dealt with in his life. I like this little like hotel thing that we have here. We have different like voicemails at the end from like the concierge or like the hotel. And on this record in particular, we see Freddie back with that mixture of both trap and the more soulful and like boom bap type beats. Usually when he locks in with the producer, like it's more of one, like with Freddie, Kenny Beats and the more trap side. And then when he's with Madlib or with Alchemist, like we get a whole nother style. And on this one, we get the mixture and honestly, like, other than maybe a couple of records, like, it was a very good blend. And so let's start off with some highlights. Of course, we got to talk about the opener, Couldn't Be Done. I love how this record kicked off. I really enjoyed the vocal sample along with those beautiful keys. And kind of this message that Freddie's starting with is just talking about that he's doing all these different things in his rose to this greatness when no one thought he would, when the odds were against him. There's a stretch at the end where Freddie starts singing a little bit and it was like awful, but it was like intentionally awful. I like how Freddie does that with this humor and brings that in. And we also get a very beautiful Kelly Price vocal section at the end too. That was amazing. Next, we have the track Blackest in the Room that sees production from Alchemist. And when I heard that sample, I didn't know if drums were gonna be in it or not, but I knew that like Freddie was gonna do what he had to do. And he absolutely did. These two have amazing chemistry. And there's also a switch up on here, and Freddie just like, he was rapping and he kept going with the same flow as the beat switched, and that's just insane. I can't remember what track it was on Bandana. I wanna say Half Main, Half Cocaine, where, like that flow just continues. Even into a different type of beat. We see Freddie Gibbs and KAYTRANADA team back up on the track Zipper Bags. And this isn't like a house beat or more, like if you heard this, you might not have thought it was KAYTRANADA, but I enjoyed this beat quite a bit. The horns on here were subtle but perfect in my opinion. And Freddie's flow really stuck out on this track more than a lot of the others. I really enjoyed it. He did some singing on here that wasn't the best for me, but like it didn't like turn me off to the track. The track Too Much featuring Moneybagg Yo, I loved it as a single and I love it in the context of this record. More of a trap beat for Freddie, and I like how he was crooning, how he was singing on this one. And Moneybagg Yo, at this point, man, I've just been curious as to when Moneybagg is dropping a new album, because I think he's been on fire lately. Like, he's one of my favorite rappers in the game right now. The hook on here is super catchy, and that 808 is very aggressive. It hits how I need it to. Easily my favorite beat on this album is Lobster Omelette that features Rick Ross. We see these two team back up since 2020 when Rick Ross featured on Alfredo. And man, that bass line was super hard hitting, and hearing this song coming off of Too Much, it made me like, I saw that the trap beat versus the more soulful beats here, and like I realized that I like Freddie on the latter more so. But just the fact that he can switch it up like that, not a lot of people can. I enjoy Rick Ross's feature, but one thing that I've noticed about Rick Ross lately that I've seen in other tracks that he's featured on is like, he'll have a nice verse, but like he's like very noticeably like off a little bit with his flow and with the beat, and it's like that works for some people, but like, I don't know, I don't like how Ross delivers that sometimes, and that happened here, but luckily it wasn't too much to turn me off. I really enjoyed the track Feel No Pain featuring Anderson .Paak and Raekwon. Paak had a great hook, very, very much more like low key, but when he got into his verse, he definitely brought the energy up. And I was surprised to see Raekwon here. I mean, they've collabed. I believe Raekwon was on Pinata. He was. But it was good to hear him, like, big Wu-Tang fan, Ghost, Raekwon, and Method Man are like my favorites. So Raekwon definitely came in and did his thing. Like, they all still drop great music, all of Wu-Tang to this day. PYS was a track that grew on me a little more off first listen, that features DJ Paul of 3 6 Mafia. He also produced this track as well. And man, like, this is, if this isn't a Southern type of track, if I ever heard one, like, this definitely, I could tell, knowing 3 6 Mafia and that history, I could really hear a lot of artists on this track, man. Whether it's like UGK, Juicy J, 3 6 Mafia as well, maybe even Isaiah Rashad, like I could hear all of those guys on this track. And the thing is, honestly, off first listen, I feel like this track could have hit harder. Like, I think the 808 and like the clap specifically, but I don't know, after listening to it more, like I kind of like how it's more chill in the, you know, context of like the whole beat and the drums. Like it's kind of cool not hitting as hard. But if it hit harder, it wouldn't be an issue either. Track that I was looking forward to the most was the track Gold Rings featuring Pusha T, and for very good reason, because these two delivered once again. They teamed up on Bandana with Killer Mike on Palm Olive. I enjoyed Freddie's nod to Biggie and Ready to Die to start off his verse. Of course, Pusha T did his thing, but I'm trying to describe this, like, I hope this makes sense, but like this beat, like it sounded like two people were about to be on here with the drug talk. Like, I don't know how to describe that further. It just had that sound to it. Like, it was literally perfect for these two to team back up once again. I also enjoyed like the Slink Johnson like little voiceover at the end, and how he was introducing himself as Jesus because he was Black Jesus on the show that was on Adult Swim and like Hulu. But also it goes back to You Only Live Twice, when he was on the intro on 20 Karat Jesus as well. So I like kind of how Freddie brought, you know, a lot of people back that we've heard on previous records. Freddie gets a little deeper and introspective on the track Grandma Stove that features Musiq Soulchild, who was amazing. And also just feels like it's been a while since we've heard her music. I can't even think of the last time. Freddie gets into a lot of things in these different verses, from talking about his parenting and how it's been questioned, and the falling out he had with his baby's mother, to trying to help his friends who were in the drug game and who, you know, was living that lifestyle, helping them to get out and do better things rather than still staying in that lifestyle. As well as talking about, like, you know, the difficulties in his life and kind of the stress he's faced, in particular, like his dad experiencing stomach cancer and how that's affected him. We get Freddie Gibbs and Madlib teaming up again on the track CIA, and it makes sense. Like, I honestly could have heard this track on Bandana. And I like how Freddie Gibbs is using CIA in here, specifically talking about, you know, rappers who like murder for clout and to post and to expose themselves, and kind of saying that the CIA like is dropping off Instagram to us, into the rap community, kind of how they dropped off crack into Black neighborhoods in the 80s. and you know how that whole thing went with Raekwon. Now, while Freddie Gibbs doesn't miss, there were a couple of songs that didn't really do it for me. The first one being the track Pain and Strife featuring Offset, which honestly surprised me. I thought this was gonna be one of my favorites, just seeing these two coming together. And honestly, like, I really enjoyed Gibbs's nod to Bone Thugs on that hook. Like, it's honestly still kind of stuck in my head, but the singing, like his singing on this one really just didn't hit for me. It really underwhelmed. And you mix that with Offset, who to me, like, it was like too much auto-tune. Like it sounded odd. And that didn't take away from the verse. Like, the verse was pretty dope, but like it just felt like it was doing a little too much with the processing and the auto-tune. There's a track Dark Hearted, which was another single that led off on this album. Honestly, it was just more underwhelming, especially on the production side. I would have liked a little bit more. There was a very beautiful like section at the end, and it kind of made me wish that the whole track had that type of depth, I guess. But other than that, man, Freddie Gibbs came through once again. He's just one of those guys that I just have that faith and that trust in, that he's gonna deliver. He's gonna bring the bars. He's gonna be over nice beats. He's gonna have great guests with him as well. And you know, with everything that's happened with like the Benny stuff, and you know, a lot of us wishing that was over with and that they could work together, like just on his own. Beyond that, I know that he's gonna come through. Who knows what's next? He could put out an album in a few months with one producer, or just come with another project. So I'm excited, of course, to see what he does. But I'm gonna give this album a 7 out of 10. So what you guys think of this new Freddie Gibbs album? Did you love it? Did you hate it? What were your favorite tracks? Let's have a discussion down in the comments. Thank you guys so much for watching. Got another video dropping tomorrow. Please like and subscribe to the channel. I'm Jason. This has been my take, and I'll see you next time.